Namaskaram. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. My apologies for starting this a little bit late. We had some technical difficulties that we had to work through. And today I have a very special guest, Kishore Swamy. He's a political commentator. He's also an author and a journalist. You can find him on many TV channels. And he has been on our channel before where we were talking about the strategies that Tamil Nadu DMK was using to try and this was about a few months back, and we have him back with us today, and a lot has changed since then. And to know all about that and more, let's welcome Kishore Swamy. Kishore, namaskaram and welcome to PGurus channel.
Yes, sir, namaskaram.
So
I should apologize. I was stuck in traffic, and therefore, by the time we could technically connect and so on and so forth, all this happened. I profusely apologize to everybody.
Thank you. No worries. Apology accepted. Let's start. They know that they're going to have a cracker of a session today, and so let's start with what happened yesterday. The Devendra Kula Velalar bill got passed in Lok Sabha. It could be a symbolic gesture. It could have some more meaning in it. So this is one of the major moves that BJP thought would have an effect on the elections. Now, I would like you to take back or forward, whichever way you want to do it. In fact, I was looking at your Twitter timeline. You have given predictions for all the 234 constituencies. The only thing you left out was you didn't give the totals. So I'm hoping that you will reveal that also today. And we can just get a big picture for all our viewers on how things are in Tamil Nadu. We know, for example, that BJP is only contesting in 20 seats. And according to your Twitter timeline, they are giving a tough fight in 17 of those 20 constituencies. And we'll talk about that and other things. So I would like you to start wherever you would like to start and then take it away. I might just interject here and there with a few questions. Go ahead.
See, the Devendra Kula Velalar issue that has been proposed and that has been brought, that had a huge impact with that community, I should say, because this has been a long-standing demand from that community. And the Prime Minister, as I've always maintained, be it the Prime Minister or Sree Amit Shah, they have given focus to social re-engineering much more than any other politician that we have seen in decades. So that it is part of that social engineering which has been going around throughout the country. So as a part of it, you can say that this has had a huge impact among that community, and that community really is grateful that this has been recognized, and they would want to go a step further as well. Though they were not able to retain Dr. Kishore Swamy in the who represents a chunk of the community in the alliance, in the NDA alliance, but still, this will have a major impact in the south. There is no question about that. Now, that will, in fact, try to neutralize the kind of setback that these NDA would have because of the Sasikala issue with the Mukulatur community, which is again one of the dominant communities in the south, which is supposed to have been peeved at the decision to have boycotted her or whatever. So there the balancing is happening. Now you would be aware that when Rahul Gandhi was in Tamil Nadu, was in Karur district, trying to show his charm on Twitter or YouTube with all those mushroom biryani gimmicks. It was at the same time around JP Nattaji was in Madurai. He was in discussion with the people, major communities, the south, including the Devendra Kula Velalars, the Muttarayars, everybody. And they were, because for the BJP, politics is mainstream. They are very clear about it. They don't play around. It is not some game that you play, that you come, you do some you try to play around with this YouTube, and then you try to show that your political might via some stunts that you commit on YouTube. No, it doesn't happen that way. Politics is about how you connect with various community people, how you offer representation to various people. That is how politics happens. And BJP understands it, be it in Bengal, be it in Assam, be it in Tamil Nadu. That is how it happens. I will tell you an interesting fact when it comes to Assam, because Northeast, Hemanta Biswa, we all know what kind of an impact he has created. Now, Hemanta Biswa, this is, of course, you could term it as a gossip, or you could term it as an input. Hemanta Biswa was famous for having, from being in the Congress, for having gone and spoken to Rahul Gandhi when we visited Delhi to meet Rahul Gandhi. This is an inside information I'm trying to share. He was made to stand. Well, he was wanting to talk about Tarun Gogoi's misrule. He was made to stand there for hours. Well, Rahul Gandhi was feeding his dogs. That, really intimidated him to the extent that he decided that he will finish Congress in Northeast, which he has done. So this is the attitude that the Congress has.
Have you read this book of mine?
Yes, Dr. Swamy had recommended it. And so this is the kind of attitude that the Congress has been showing in Tamil Nadu as well. You just look at the Tamil Nadu list of those 25 candidates or 26 candidates that they've taken from the DMK. Now, most of them come from, some family or the other, some family root or the other. And that is not the case of the BJP. You look at the person from Modakuruchi, an eminent doctor. You look at the person from Aravakuruchi, an IPS officer who's left his job to take up social service.
Is this Arunachalam?
Annamalai.
Annamalai. I'm sorry, Annamalai. Right. Okay.
You take up the person from this in Nagarkol. See, everybody has come from humble. I mean, at least most of them have come from humble roots. Now, people will even say Kushbu. Now, Kushbu did not have everything going for her from day one. She's fought, be it in the film industry, be it in the political spectrum. She's fought her way. She never had things easy. People may claim whatever, but then see, even in Thousand Lights, she started from a disadvantaged position, but then she is now aggressive, showing an aggressive posture. That is what BJP is about, and that is what is to be appreciated. And a lot of people are forgetting that Aravakuruchi is going to turn out to be a surprise, because it was considered a very tough constituency. And I'm telling you, I'm prophesizing and telling you that Aravakuruchi, Annamalai is going to fare much better than anybody is going. People have predicted, because there's a lot of hard work going on, and a lot of people don't know that he has got as his Manfrede Muniratna, who is the MLA from Bangalore, the largest constituency in Bangalore, Radharajeshwari Nagar constituency, a prestigious constituency, and we all know how he won it. So this is the kind of strategy that is going on the ground level. But yes, there are some issues that we need to understand to understand the turf of Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu, the biggest problem that, let us start with the AIADMK, the biggest lacunae that the AIADMK had was a leadership crisis and a void. And in 2019, we all know how the wave went against them, to the extent that they lost many seats at 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs margin. And I would say to a large extent, AIADMK had itself to blame for it. Because if you see, while the DMK projected Rahul Gandhi, the AIADMK was little hesitant to project Prime Minister Modi. Wherever they projected it, or the only candidate who vehemently and overwhelmingly went and projected Prime Minister Modi was in Teni. And that candidate won, which is O.P. Ravindranath. And the other candidate who also vehemently projected Prime Minister Modi in the alliance, that is Dr. Kishore K Swamy, he lost by a smaller margin when compared to his other counterparts. So when I think from there the AIADMK has picked up. 52% was the almost the percentage that the DMK got in 2019, along with the alliance partners. and the AIADMK was faring somewhere between 31 to 32. So that was the reason for the big defeat. So they had almost a 20% deficit. Now from that 20% deficit, they have worked their way up. I should say the chief minister had a human task. He had to work from scratch or from the negative. He had to bring it to zero, and then from there he had to bring it to positive. That was the task that the chief minister had, and I think he's done a brilliant job. Now, am I going to say that he's bridged the gap to the extent that he's going to have a big win? No, that is not possible. It's going to be a neck and neck.
Quick question, Kishore. Let's start from the two broader coalitions. Can you just break up, for example, on the AIADMK side, who are the major partners? And also after that, maybe DMK, and then we look at the other minor parties. So start with AIADMK, please.
See, the AIADMK, I would say their biggest source of strength would be the PMK, the Patali Makkal Katchi. The Patali Makkal Katchi, as we have seen, whichever alliance they have been, or even when they went alone, they have been able to retain their 5.5% of votes. That is regardless of which alliance they have been, and it is regardless of even in the instance of them going alone, which is what happened in 2016. So that is a big source of strength. In fact, you will see that in 2019, when the general elections for the Lok Sabha happened, we also had the by-elections to the assembly, which is very crucial. There, the AIADMK was able to score and get the majority, retain the majority with the help of the alliance with the PMK. The PMK alliance was crucial for them to get those 9 seats, which was very important, very significant for them to retain the power. Now, that is a vote bank which is prevalent in the north of Tamil Nadu. And you can say that it is derived from a very dominant community, which is the One-Year community. If you take the north of Tamil Nadu, there are two dominant communities. One is the One-Year community, the other one is the Parayar community. As far as the Parayar community, yes, Tirumalavan factor plays a role, but it does not go significantly as much as the PMK role goes when it comes to the 1 years. So you have a huge SC community backing to the AIADMK as well, which is a normal vote bank. Now, coupled with it, when the PMK support comes in, and if the PMK, because of this internal reservation, that is a 10.5% reservation that was handed out to the 1 years, now the PMK will be able to play a big role. Now, if you take districts like in the north, like Dharmapuri or Viluppuram, these are districts where there are people going door to door, campaigning and saying that this is a major boost to the community. Now, this is a gamble, I will say. Why this is a gamble? Because it could also lead to a consolidation of a non-1-year community vote towards the DMK. But I don't see that happening, because the DMK, though, has been doing everything that it can from behind the screens to scuttle this internal reservation. It has not been vociferous in coming out and condemning it, because it knows that it is going to affect its own vote bank. That's what it fears. So the balancing act of the DMK is ensured that the non-1-year vote does not consolidate behind the DMK. But whereas the upfront, announcement of the chief minister and the way in which the alliance has been made with the PMK is very clear that the 1-year consolidation will cut across party lines, which is 1 years in DMK, 1 years in any other party of the alliance of the DMK, will cut across those parties and come and stand behind the chief minister and Dr. Ramadas. This is a scenario. This is a gamble. If it pays, and if the PMK, that is the Patali Makkal Katchi, is able to consolidate this 5.5 and increase upon it to which they anyway will, which we have seen over election after election, they have been able to do that. If they are able to increase it by a couple of percentage points, then that is going to be a major boost for them, because we'll have to understand that their influence cuts across almost about 50 to 60 seats. So this is a point to be noted. I think one of the major factors on which the chief minister is relying for a comeback. So, and then the other partners of the AIADMK, if you will see, they have been very clear that they will contest maximum number of seats. which crosses 180, if I'm not wrong, and the other partners are all the BJP. Now, as far as the BJP is concerned, let us assume that the BJP sits over about 3% of vote percentage as per their last election calculation. But there is another important factor which people forget, which is the Modi factor. Now, even going beyond the BJP, there is a Modi vote bank in Tamil Nadu, which people don't understand, or which the media fails to project for known reasons or unknown reasons. That vote percentage can go up to about 10%, but it works on how much you play on that. And the Prime Minister's rally will play a very important role. That is what I feel, because there are major beneficiaries. Let us look at schemes like Jal Shakti. Now, Jal Shakti, the number of beneficiaries in Tamil Nadu cross 1 crore. Imagine people who are running around for water to the street end or the street corner or to different other places. Sometimes even half a mile they had to walk for water. Now they get it inside their house. That is a major,
improvement,
benefit that has come to them. Now, I was there, and about 2 weeks ago, I was there in Kashmir, which is a port in the outskirts of Chennai. There, when I was conversing with some of the boatmen, you would be surprised that they were very much aware of the schemes. They are saying it was Modi, Prime Minister Modi, who has given us these schemes. We are aware of it. We are beneficiaries of it. Be it the loan, be it the subsidies, we are the beneficiaries of it. But they also rue the fact that the party which is the alliance leader in Tamil Nadu, be it the AIADMK, right now, they have not projected it properly, taken it forward properly, which is something that the AIADMK will have to introspect seriously. Because these are schemes which are benefiting the people, and let us not forget that the people are not semi-literates, that they don't understand about these schemes. They are very much aware of these schemes because it deals with their livelihood. And if they are beneficiaries, they're thankful for it. But the only problem I feel, because when we are talking, let us be frank about certain things. Only problem is that the AIADMK has not been successful, 100% successful in taking it forward to the general population. That look, these are the beneficiaries, and we have benefited because we have had good relations with the center. And the kind of schemes that has reached out to the people, it has never happened before. For example, let us look at the 60,000 houses that were built for the Tamil population in Sri Lanka. It is unprecedented. In fact, these fishermen were even telling us that it was only after the Modi government that the harassment levels have come down drastically. As much as 2 weeks back, 85 fishermen have been released by the Sri Lankan government. All this is, not been projected in the media. We all know the reasons why, because the media is stacked up against the AIADMK, much more against the BJP. They don't even oppose the AIADMK, but their only worry is that the BJP should not have inroads in Tamil Nadu. But sadly, they don't understand that people are not fools, and they are grasping what is happening. They are the real beneficiaries, and the direct benefit transfer is one of the biggest schemes which is transformed this entire dynamic, wherein people do understand that the center is doing much for them, much than what was done before. So I think these tantrums and gimmicks like going around with this YouTube channels making these mushroom biryanis is not going to work.
Let's take a broader perspective again. On the DMK side, the bigger partners are DMK and Congress, right? And now, from what I could gather, looking at social media texts and things like that, there were some murmurs that, okay, ADMK cadre is not working, where BJP candidates are contesting, they should come out and put their muscle behind them. Because ADMK is in every district and every constituency, because they are a much more broader based part. So how is this dynamic working between parties where there are coalition partners? Is there going to be a complete transfer of vote, or do you think there could be some breakup?
See, here I would like to point out some facts. The DMK, whenever the election is over, till the election they keep quiet. But after election they start complaining. They start saying that look, the Congress strike rate, wherever we offer them seats, the Congress strike rate does not come up to the strike rate levels of the DMK. Where the DMK versus ADMK, the strike rate is much better. Where the Congress versus the ADMK, the strike rate is less. This is what they keep doing. Now the reason, but what they conveniently forget is because the reason why the DMK strike rate is higher than any of its other alliance partners, one of the major reasons is that the vote transfer does not happen as much as, see, when you look at wherever the DMK contests, the Congress vote transfers to the DMK. Whereas when you are given seats to the Congress, the DMK vote does not transfer as much as the Congress vote, the percentage of Congress vote transfers to the DMK. This is a fact that the Congress leaders also understand and know. You go to a Congress worker, he will say, as much as I work for DMK when it works in my, when it contests in my constituency, a DMK worker will not work for the Congress. So this is because the DMK Congress is not a natural alliance. They are trying to project it to be a natural alliance, but it is not so. Now I'll give you a classic example. In 2016, when the ADMK decided to contest in all 234 seats in the two-leaf symbol. However, it decided that Jayalalitha ji decided that we will have people like Tamimun Ansari contesting in constituencies like Nagapattinam. She invited them to Poise Garden and they had a meeting, and after the meeting it was announced that he is going to contest from so-and-so constituency. You won't believe, this is Tamimun Ansari by himself has said this, has gone on record saying this, that the minute he is stepped out of Poise Garden, and even before him drive back to his house, right from the district secretary, everybody of the ADMK were there at his house, residence, offering their cooperation, offering their support, seeking what all should be done, suggestions, etc., etc. This is how the ADMK works. Whereas that is not the case with the DMK, because a DMK aspirant, when he is denied and the ticket is offered to an alliance partner, that very minute he decides that he will not work to his 100%. It's a typical DNA of the DMK. You can ask any alliance partner of the DMK off the record, they will accept what I'm saying. So this is the problem. Now having said this, has the DMK not has always been riding on its alliance partners? Let us take the instance of 2006. But without the support of the PMK and without the support of the Congress, they could not have run the minority government. Okay, after 2-3 years, the PMK left the alliance, but still the Congress was in the alliance. They should have natural principles of justice demands that the alliance dharma demands that the alliance should grant the coalition. It should be a coalition government, and there should be ministers from the Congress also. But it was denied by the DMK. Whereas, let us look at the ADMK alliance. The BJP goes by the alliance dharma. It says very clearly that we do not want the DMK to come. That is our aim. And for that aim, we are ready to compromise. And compromise they have done. Now these very people who kept on saying that Edappadi Palaniswamy is a puppet of the BJP. If Edappadi Palaniswamy was a puppet of the BJP would have gotten about 40 seats in the alliance. That did not happen. It got 20 seats because the BJP strategy is very clear that they are concentrating on winning rather than getting more seats. What happens after election? What happens when they go into the assembly? What happens when the representatives go into the assembly is more important than bargaining and snatching seats just for the sake of showing might. The BJP never does that. It goes by the alliance dharma. We all
Now,
saw the pathetic sight of the 2011. You would remember on the first floor the raid was going on. Enforcement Directorate raid was going on. And on the ground floor, Chidambaram was sitting and bargaining for 63 seats with Karnanidhi. We all saw this happening. That has never been the case with the BJP. It has never arm twisted its allies. Be it in Punjab, be it in Bihar, be it in Uttar Pradesh. It has never happened that way. Whereas, can you say that of the Congress? You cannot. And look at the other allies of the DMK. We have Vaiko, who kept claiming that he is a lifelong, adversary of the DMK. And what has happened? He has even gone to the extent of saying that these candidates will field in the DMK symbol. 6 seats, perhaps in memory of the 6 people who committed self-immolation because Vaiko was thrown out of the very party, DMK. Can it get any more pathetic than this? This is the kind of alliance that is there in the DMK. That is why we call it an opportunistic alliance. Tirumavalavan says, we are going to contest the 6 seats in the DMK alliance because we have accepted for 6 seats or whatever seats they have given. Because we want to finish off Sanatana Dharma. How? With 6 seats in assembly, you will finish off Sanatana Dharma. What Babar couldn't do, what Aurangzeb couldn't do, what Tipu Sultan couldn't do, what the British couldn't do, with all their might, Tirumavalavan is going to do with 6 seats. Look at the opportunism. And their very candidates, Tirumavalavan's very candidates, 2 days after he claiming that he is going to finish off Sanatana Dharma by getting these 6 seats, 2 of his candidates are prominently posing in front of temples, worshipping. Can it get any more shameless than this?
Question for you, Kishore. What about Vijay Kant's party? Who are they aligning with?
The Vijay Kant party is contesting along with Dinakaran, the Amma Netra Karagam, which is now tied up with the SDPI and Oasis party. So they have formed an alliance and they are trying to contest there, which I think is a suicide because I basically feel that the 13 seats that was offered by the Chief Minister was a handsome offer. They should have taken up. Because, see, what could be your focus when your leader is ailing, not in a position to come out and campaign, and your party is in a downswing, and you get 13 seats? You are assured of a minimum representation in the assembly. What more can be of strength to you at this moment, which is your weakest moment, and you have lost that opportunity?
And AIADMK does Dinakaran have the blessings of Sasikala? What is your dynamic there? What is the dynamic there?
See, I have been trying to say this time and again that Dinakaran is an ambitious politician. Now, it is okay to be ambitious, but why do you try to ride on somebody else? And when you try to ride on somebody else, why do you put them down? My pivotal questions to him would be that as long as Srimati Sasikala was in prison, you were acting or you were posing as her representative, fine. But now that she is out of the prison and she is on her own and there is no bar from her, on her to meet the media to express herself, where is the necessity for you to position yourself as her representative? Because she has claimed from day one, the day she stepped out of the prison also, she has claimed that she is part of the AIADMK. Now, whether the AIADMK accepts it, does not accept it, that is all debatable. But her stand is very clear. She is not associating herself with the AIADMK. She has not claimed Dinakaran to be her representative. And he was trying to come out and standing in front of our residents, come out and talk against the government. How do you do? I mean, forget talking about the government, again the chief minister, again the deputy chief minister, again the ministers. Now, my question is, when a person has filed a case in the court, be it the civil court, and has claimed that she is general secretary of the party, can a other person claiming to be the representative of this person go hammer and tongs at the very leaders of the party? And let us look at the other, bungling that Dinakaran did, which was when he came out and claimed that the superstar had called and inquired about Srimati Sasikala. Now you tell me, it was a personal inquiry. He had perhaps called to make a personal inquiry. There are only two people who can reveal about it. One is Mrs. Sasikala or the superstar Rajnikant. Both of them have not spoken about it. Why is this man jumping into the fray and declaring, exposing it or talking about it? Why do you make personal conversations public unless and otherwise you really want to have you want to score political brownie points over it? Or is it being said because Dinakaran does not want anybody else calling up and inquiring about her, so that they have the fear that anybody calls, they will stand exposed. Dinakaran will come out and expose their names. See, this is the kind of internal what I should say. I would in Tamil call it drogam, treachery, that Mrs. Sasikala has been facing, and therefore she took the decision, which is a very, very positive and good decision, constructive decision, that she will step aside from politics as far as these elections are concerned. Because in these elections, she has no role to play. And she does not want her name to be misused by either sides. On one end, you have Dinakaran misusing her name. On the other end, you have the DMK trying to use her to take on the AIADMK. She does not want that. And she has made it very clear that she stands for a unified AIADMK. So to claim that Dinakaran represents Sasikala is wrong. She has made her stand very clear that she no more backs him. At least that is what I understand.
Now let's take a look at the other alliance, that is of Kamal Haasan, and he has got a few other people with him. And I think Kamal Haasan's party, Mayam, whatever the thing, it got what, 5% in the last elections? So where does that, is it going to be a spoiler, or do you think it might not have any impact?
See, let us look at where the Mayam votes come in from. See, then as you see, the void was utilized by a lot of people. Dinakaran utilized it, Seeman utilized it, Kamal Haasan utilized it. Because you traditionally have a huge, see, there is a vote bank for the DMK, there is a vote bank for the AIADMK, and there are vote banks for the other parties. But there is also a huge section of undesired voters. Now, what do you do with those undesired voters? Especially when it comes to a parliament election, where the stakes are not so high for the state. There, the undesired voters choose to go and vote for a person whom they find to be their favorite, and that's where Seeman gained, or Dinakaran gained, and Kamal Haasan gained, and all these people were able to produce. But is it a core vote bank? No, it is not. Can Mayam claim to have a core vote bank? It cannot, because it does not even have an ideology. Now, nobody can come out and say, I have a centrist ideology. There's nothing called a centrist ideology. I mean, it has to be backed up by something. And there is nothing that they can claim to say that they stand on this. So, the kind of first-time undecided voters who went and voted for Kamal Haasan, will they repeat the same votes? I doubt it. But yes, if he's going to contest, if Kamal Haasan is going to contest in Kowai South, of course, being a star campaigner, he will draw votes. Now, if he's going to place a Muslim candidate in Nagapattinam, for example, yes, it will create a kind of a ripple. But will it be, will it have a huge impact? I doubt it. I think Kamal Haasan must be looking at negotiating with either of the bigger alliances and try to project himself as the spoilsport with either of the camps, and must be getting a good bargain. This is how I look at it. I don't attach much more significance to him or his party beyond this.
So his move to politics was primarily because his movies were not doing well. Was that the key reason?
See, he lost market long after Dasavadaram. That was his last movie where he had some kind of a market. After that, he had no market at all. So all he could do now, you can see that his Mayam itself is an extended version of the Big Boss. You can see all those characters who are featured in Big Boss will be sitting in all those meetings, and some of them even hold prime positions. And perhaps some of his exterior, co-protagonists like Sree will perhaps play a role. I'm not trying to downplay any of their roles. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to underestimate them. But should they not be having anything more to their credit than sharing screenplays with Kamal Haasan? Which is what is the question which we would like to put across. So an extended version of Big Boss in the name of Mayam goes to the people. What kind of an impact can it create? Even in the last elections, whatever percentage, they took about 3.4 or 3.5 percentage. Now even that percentage of votes came from undesired first-time voters and from the urban pockets. In rural areas, has not been much of a, he has not made any inroads, I would say. And a party without any policy and claiming that I am centrist. Now, how will you even create a core vote base? Forget forming a government, forget reaching out and becoming chief minister, forget all that. My question is, to even form a vote base, you need to have a core, some core vote base. Now let us take Dinagaran. Dinagaran as the AIADMK Amma Makkal Munnetra Kazhagam. This is also bereft of ideology, but at least it claims that we are going to redeem the AIADMK. Now, to that extent, they will be able to draw some of the voters. Take the question of Seaman, whether it is a flawed and stupid thought process, but still it is a thought process. And you will still have takers for that. You still have voters cutting across districts for his thought process, which is Tamil Desiyam, Tamil nationalism. But what kind of a thought process is Kamal Haasan going to project, other than saying that I'm clean, other than saying that I will give you corruption-free government? These are regular promises doled out by every politician. What have you got to attract a core voter base? And without a core voter base and without an organizational strength, how do you face elections? I'm sure Kamal Haasan would not have, in the earlier election, we had about 66,000 odd polling booths. Now, if you take the current scenario with the COVID, the number of polling booths have drastically increased. They must be touching almost 1 lakh, and you don't even have to, people to fill up 30% of the 66,000 polling booths. Imagine the scenario when you are faced with almost 1 lakh polling booths. Where are you going to get people to work in the booth in the first place? Forget the voters. These are the questions for which we have no answer.
Let me ask
the media. See, you can the cynosure of the media. You can get the bites, and you can play around with your words. All that is good. But what about the ground situation? We all saw what happened to one of the greatest actors of Indian cinema, Shivaji Ganesan, when it came to electoral politics. It requires organizational strength, not just screen presence.
Now, let's take a look at some numbers now. So you said that in 2019, the DMK alliance polled close to 52% and AIADMK had 32%. Let's say alliance together. So 52, 32. Now, so how much of this gap has AIADMK made up? And would that be enough for it to go over DMK and come back to power? What are your thoughts? big numbers. I mean, mota. I'm not going to hold your feet and say to the fire and say, hey, you said you'll. No, nothing like that. Things are still, nebulous at this point of time. But I noticed that you've done some of that work already. That's why I wanted to ask you this question.
Let us understand the 2016 election, the difference between the AIADMK and DMK alliance was 1.5%, near about 1.5%. 1.5%, and still the AIADMK was able to get about 133 or 134 seats.
Right.
Which is, so the DMK was stopped at 95 or whatever. Now my question is very clear, that with a 20% difference in vote percentage, no matter what magic you do, unless you bring down that vote percentage, there is no way, unless you bridge that gap, there is no way you're forming the government. Let's be very brutally frank and honest.
Right.
You may have a political preference, or any of the viewers may have their own political preferences. So the challenge in front of Edappadi Palaniswamy is in bridging this 20% gap. Now, let us assume that DMK is not going to get the same kind of a sweep that they got in the last election, because this is the Lok Sabha election. We have always seen Tamil Nadu votes differently when it comes to the Lok Sabha and the assembly. So let us give that benefit of doubt to the other, to the AIADMK alliance, and let us say that Stalin is not going to perform at 52%. He's going to come down by around 10%. That is the minimum that he will come down. So DMK is still sitting pretty at 42%. Now at 42%, how is the AIADMK going to bridge that gap? It is still at 32%. Now with the DMDK out of its clutches, it is down by another 2%, let us assume. So 30%. So there is a 12% gap. Now the whole election narrows down to this. How is the AIADMK going to bridge this 12%? With the kind of manifesto that it has promised, the kind of electoral promises that it has given, or before the announcement of elections, the kind of waivers that it has promised. And I'm sure money plays a very important role, and individual candidates and their might. So all this put together, it is going to be an uphill task. Let me be brutally honest with you. It is going to be an uphill task for the AIADMK to bridge the gap, but the AIADMK is fighting. And it is scoring. If you take in the last 2 weeks, it is scoring. Like, let us take for instance Aravakurchi. Now Annamalai, when he started off, he knew very well, because he shared the I don't know. He will. I don't think he will mistake me if I'm going to share the conversation. Some of
Sure. Go ahead.
He said that, Kishore, if I'm able to crack Aravakurchi, which is a very tough constituency, if I'm able to crack Aravakurchi, then I'm sure I will be able to get BJP to crack Tamil Nadu, which is a fact. Because Aravakurchi is a constituency where you traditionally had DMK, AIADMK competing, and you've had the advantage going with whoever is able to carry one of the places, which is Pallipattu. Now, Pallipattu is one place where you have almost 40,000 Muslims. And they have a habit of going and voting en masse. Of course, DMK and AIADMK used to split the Muslim votes. They used to split it in such a way that it is 60-40, 40% with the AIADMK and 60% with the DMK. But this time around, he has reached out to those people. He has ensured that he has gotten the confidence of those people, and he is working hard. So this is the kind of field work that is going to work to the advantage of the AIADMK. Because let us understand that you are, if you are from the AIADMK, you are running a uphill task. Bridging this 12% gap is going to be a huge, effort is required, and that is happening. That is the fact. And let us look at Harbour. Harbour is a constituency in Chennai, where Vinod Selvam has desired to take on a heavyweight of the DMK. Vinod could have gone for a safer seat. Annamalai could have gone for a safer seat. They refused. They have taken up. Vinod, I know personally, is working for almost 3 years in that constituency. And you will see that in Harbour, Shekhar Babu is a heavyweight. But last election, the ADMK got about 37,000 votes. The BJP is able to score about 13,000 votes. And DMK scraped through with 42,000 votes. This is how it is worked out. So 5,000 votes is the difference. But if the ADMK is able to convert all its votes to the BJP, transfer all its votes to the BJP, then take it from me that Vinod is sailing through. But it's going to be an uphill task for him because he is working against a heavyweight. Shekhar Babu, he has even rebuffed IPAC staff when they came out with suggestions of how to work in the constituency. That is how it has happened. And the biggest significant aspect there for Harbour is Saukarpet, where the entire Mawadi community, which is a dominant community there, have decided to go in for BJP because they are upset with the kind of rhetoric, with the kind of puritanism rhetoric that is being put forward by the DMK, the anti-Hindu, anti-Hindi kind of rhetoric that was whipped up, the kind of hatred that was spewed on Hindi-speaking community has not gone well with that community. So all these factors are there. So it is difficult for us to come out and say in this election, which is a narrative-less election, and which has no kind of significant wave against the government, or there is no big significant wave in favor of the DMK. The only thing that stands in front of the DMK, advantage to the DMK, is the fact that they have a percentage, alliance percentage. They have a cohesive alliance, and that alliance adds up to an arithmetic. So the arithmetic advantage that the DMK has. Now, how the ADMK is going to beat it with chemistry, how it is going to beat it with its own individual candidate strength, and what kind of a narrative is it going to set by projecting the Prime Minister, which is very, very important. How it is going to use the rallies of the Prime Minister, which is going to come up in the next few days, that is going to decide TN.
So let's take a look at projections. So for the 234 seats, what does your math tell you? Just between these two alliances.
There are two maps that I have. One is what I wish to see, and one is what I see. So that the map that I wish to see is to have ADMK having about 120 to 130 seats. But the map that I see currently is around 120 to 130 seats for the DMK, with the ADMK catching up. But I tell you, the same map of mine was having 175 seats for the DMK about 2 weeks ago. So from 175, they've come down to around 120 to 130. Which means that the next coming days are crucial for the ADMK to bucker up and work even more further, so that they will be able to bridge this gap. And it is not a gap that cannot be bridged.
Well, that looks like a very interesting battle there. And
it is going to go to the teeth.
Going to go to the last over, last ball, perhaps, T20 match.
Absolutely. And I'm telling you, I will never underestimate Edappadi Palaniswamy. Because I tell you, the man who was dubbed as a misnomer in 2017 has turned it around to such an extent that he is seen as a serious contender, which itself is a major achievement, I tell you. To take on two families who've dominated the politics of Tamil Nadu the last 35 years. One is the Karunanidhi family, the other one is the Sasikala family. To take on these two families and form a formidable alliance and form a cohesive kind of relationship with the center and give an administration. I tell you, I don't know whether what kind of input people give you, but I can give you, I can tell you confidently that with due respects to all the past chief ministers of Tamil Nadu, I tell you one of the best administrations have been delivered by Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy. There's no questions about that. You can go on, verify independently with the IAS officers and people on the ground who are from the bureaucracy. They will tell you that files move like on the basis of merit, files are moving like never before. So one of the best chief ministers the Tamil Nadu has produced, and whether
Viewers, we just seem to have missed his. You're back. Go ahead. Go ahead.
the best chief
Yeah.
ministers that the Tamil Nadu has produced, and I leave it to the wisdom of the people to think and decide whether rhetoric should take over performance.
Well, the signal is beginning to deteriorate, so I think we will perhaps call this a wrap. But Kishore, it was wonderful listening to you. Very, very thorough, very concise and precise analysis. And so let's see how it goes. I mean, the momentum certainly appears to be with the ADMK combination, and let's see how this goes. Hopefully, we'll be.
I think that the arithmetic may be with the DMK, but the momentum is with the ADMK. The effort that I'm seeing on the ground, the ADMK is catching up, and my bet will always be, and and let me not hide my preference. My preference is also for the ADMK.
Well, that was wonderful listening to you, and viewers who perhaps have not been able to follow all the nitty-gritties, we got an excellent, ringside view of what is happening in Tamil Nadu elections, and let's hope for the best. May the best candidate win, and may the state progress even faster and further than what it has been already. Thank you very much, Kishore. Namaskaram.
Thank you, sir.